Commissioner Smith.
Yes, I've actually made a list of, items that I've cleaned up. I just like to throw out there, I'll read them to you guys. I replaced the column lights for the request of Mr. Hessmeyer and some other citizens. Replaced the old rusted electrical panels, some that had no covers, that was unsafe. Added GFIs to, each of these panels. Added new grounding systems to each panel, installed photo eyes so the lights come on at dusk and off at dawn. Pressure washed the walkway leading up to the monument, approximately 250 feet. Pressure washed the monument, pressure washed the columns. Added 14 gauge wire to the 2 column posts. These were dug in at 12 inches and terminated. Tested the lights for functionality. I actually have pictures of these lights where the columns, I don't know if you guys, I'm sure all you guys are familiar with the Knoll Cemetery. The lights on the south end were burning at one time. I've got pictures of these. I went out a few weeks ago to check and the breaker was off to the panel and the wire had been cut. But these lights did work. This will be the 3rd time I actually replace this wire that's going through these lights. Cleared the brush and the shrubs requested by the citizens. Painted the storage shed as recommended by the citizen. This storage shed is still an active and open item. I think we still have 7 gallons, Mr. Chief, left over for this. 7 gallons. I left this particular shed for springtime. I have replacing all the rotted wood down for the springtime as well. I told the contractor to hold off on the continuance of the paint job until the spring because he cannot thoroughly paint it because all the shrubbery that surrounded the building from the adjacent property owner. So there was a lot of shrubs hanging over. It was cut over. Repaired the brick column using the existing bricks that was there. I didn't actually purchase new brick. I was quoted $1,750 to repair this brick wall from a local contractor. We had the raw wall replaced for a mere $350. I think this is an awesome price in my opinion. There's still some mortar that needs to be cleaned up as well. I've got this on the list for the spring. He didn't complete this per my discretion, so this is my fault. This is a project that I'm working on for you guys, and I know that there's items that still need to be addressed, and that wraps it up for the cemetery. Now the library had some places in the roof that were patched. The roof is an old rubber roof and it's still leaking in multiple places. There are still places in the roof that are leaking. I will be sending a guy out this week to do some patchwork to hold us over until we can have the roof replaced. This is actually going to be a part of my budget for this year to get the library roof replaced. The library was having some AC issues. Turns out the condenser was clogged up, so I had it cleaned and there was a new capacitor installed. I had the library pressure washed and the windows cleaned as well. I'm sure there's some other things that I missed on here. I have spent a grand total of around $3,000 on the cemetery and the library combined. $1,500 that was spent prior to me being on the board is obsolete. I can't control that spending. I just wanted to clear the air and let you guys know that I'm working on the cemetery for you guys. I know there's some third-party websites out there that is giving misleading information. And I want you guys to know that you can call me. Any one of you guys can call me. My information is public. It's all over third-party websites. It's on our tail websites. The only person that has even reached out to me is Denise, and I respect her tremendously. I'm glad she has come to me with these items. She was concerned, and she was concerned enough for you guys to reach out to me. The fire ants, she came to me about the fire ants. The fire ants have been delegated to Public Works to have those matters handled.
Commissioner Smith, can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
On the cemetery, on the building authority. It's my understanding you done used about 5 gallons of paint on that building,
There was 3 gallons used.
3 gallons.
so far.
and why is it taking so much paint?
Well, that block just soaks
Absorbs
up that paint, yeah. But we still, I think, have 7 gallons we have left over to complete this project, as well as replacing the rotted wood.
Well, let me ask you a question on that building. I know it probably looked better painted, but would it be cheaper if we had left it, block, maybe sandblast it back to block, or would you want to continue painting?
Well, the paint we got's a 10-year paint, it's guaranteed for 10 years.
It's gonna take you how many more gallons to finish it?
I mean, we got the paint and we already have the paint.
We already have the
finished.
paint. You're gonna replace the broken roof
Yes.
and the doors? Okay.
Ms. Lowe would like to say something. Mr. Smith has graciously acknowledged her. I think maybe she wants to say something to listen to her.
Who are the citizens that requested that the shed?
Ms. Lowe, can you come up to the?
Who are the citizens that requested that the shed be painted?
Well, the night I got sworn in, there was a couple citizens that, I mean, it was my first night in, so I don't recall who they were exactly.
Okay, well, normally, when you have block building, cinder block, it's already gray. So, I just wonder if that paint money could have been spent better otherwise.
Yeah, I'm sure it probably could have, just as wise as we're about to spend on an attorney for taking some property back.
Who was the local contractor that you?
There was a couple
checked
different
with?
ones.
Which one?
I don't recall at the moment, but I can find out and bring it back up. I can get that information.
Did you check with, what's the guy that? Daryl Carmen, gave that number to Bobby to pass on to you.
No, I didn't get that number.
Gave me.
But I said, I'm sorry, I gave you the name, but it
You
was in
didn't
the
give me the
book.
number.
But it was in the book. That's what we're talking about, sorry. So that's another person that used to teach a class at Eastern Randolph. And Eastern Randolph has students that would probably gladly relish the experience of maybe helping to repair the brick wall. I'm not sure who the teacher is now, but that might be something that would help the town prevent any more unnecessary spending. But my other question is, okay, you're talking about paint that's left over. Where is that being stored?
It's in my garage.
Okay, shouldn't it be here at the town hall?
I suppose I didn't know it was a big issue. No one's made a big stink about it until now. The cemetery said.
I'm not making a big thing. I'm just asking
Yeah.
questions because
I
that
understand. I
paint
understand.
is paid for with our tax money.
I understand.
Okay, so anything that's bought with tax money for our budget or that's paid for any town reasons, I think would be locked up here.
So
We
just
have a lot of
in-house.
this in different departments that need to have included. We
Okay,
have-
so maybe you didn't know, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I
But
didn't
anyway,
know
that's
that.
the question
Yeah.
I have. The other question I have is, you said that, I noticed at the bottom of the shed, whomever painted it, painted around the shape of the weed. And he did not paint the wood,
Let's hold it down in audience, please.
he didn't paint the wood
You wanna
At the
laugh, you
top.
go outside and laugh.
and concentrated more on the block versus maybe what we should have painted.
Yeah, well, that wood's rotted and needs to be replaced, so I told him not to paint that yet.
And we're replacing the door.
Yes.
All right, so now it's been put off till spring.
Yes, this was already planned. This was pre-planned before all this.
Okay, so the check and the invoice that was paid, part of that has been paid, but it's not finished, it's gonna be finished in spring?
We finish in the springtime.
Okay, well, I have a problem with that, because if I were gonna have a contractor come to my house and paint my house, and we had him on soon, and he said, well, I'm gonna come back in the spring and finish, but I need you to go ahead and paint it. I don't know that he's gonna come back. I don't know. Why would I do that? Why would we pay a bill without it being finished?
Oh, well, the thing is this guy's worked for me for years. I mean, he's a good guy, and I trust him, and he stands behind his work, as well as the gentleman that done the electrical work.
Okay, well, we taxpayers, we don't know him. Does he have workers' comp insurance?
I mean, he's got insurance, yes, he's got $1 million policy.
Does he have a certificate of insurance then he can bring?
Yeah, I'm sure he
Into the
does.
office?
Yes, I'm sure he does.
Okay, well, I still have a problem with something being paid for that's not being completed. And I asked Bobby, and she looks to the department head. When those invoices are put in her basket, then she thinks they're taken care of. And the brick wall hasn't been taken care of. And
The
then we
brick wall
have,
has been taken care of.
beg your pardon?
The brick wall has been taken care of.
I looked at it today.
And
I didn't see any difference.
the brick wall is complete. It needs to be cleaned up.
Cleaned up, but it's not laid correctly.
That looks good to me.
Okay, you are,
This,
those are my questions.
here's,
And I think we need to have a different checks and balances on this.
okay, thank you, Denise.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. I'm sorry. You
Why
have
don't
anything
you
else?
cut everybody off, Danny? The town pays for that cemetery,
Yep.
and the brick wall, the brick holes.
Look, he told you a while ago that it wasn't finished
It's
yet.
done laid.
You just said it
It's
was
done
finished.
laid. The
Look.
holes are facing out to the street.
Order in the courtroom, please. Let us
Okay,
continue our
You
business.
cut somebody else off, you know, go ahead.
She was Denise, were you finished?
Yeah, when you cut her off. I recommend to make a motion that the brick get redone. I have family in there, and they're not done correctly. It looks
Looks
horrible.
terrible.
Okay, send us a letter to the town.
I do have one more thing.
No, this,
I do have one more thing. One more thing is, that money needs to be reimbursed to this town so somebody can do it correctly, whether it comes out of his pocket or his employee.
thank you, Denise.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Street, members,
Yeah,
anything
work,
else?
sure do.
Anything else?
Well, yeah.
Cemetery
That's all
library?
for that.
Okay.
Nothing
Okay,
personal, it's just how I feel.
Water bill relief program.
um,
Commissioner Smith.
I'm actually coming up with a water bill relief program to help struggling citizens pay their water bill. So this isn't complete yet, so
Okay.
we'll hold off on it.
DOT Gov domain extension change.
I would like to change our domain name to a .gov, to keep confusion down. Right now we're .org, and, .gov has been adopted by many towns and municipals, and I think it would benefit our citizens.
Mr. Smith, can you go ahead and read the letter that you prepared?
This is actually a prepared letter from the .gov registration website. It says, "Dear Domain Manager, as head or cabinet level CIO for the town of Ramsor, I formally request that authority over the town of Ramsor.gov and Ramsor.gov second level domain names be delegated to the town of Ramsor. This domain name will be used for official government use for the town of Ramsor, located in Randolph County, North Carolina. The use of this domain is consistent with the town of Ramsor government internet policy. In addition, I will ensure the contents of the requested domain name conform to federal government content policies. This request meets the requirements of OMB memorandum on policies for .gov issuance for federal agency public websites. Then lists the public website address. By requesting this domain name, I acknowledge that I will be responsible for payment of the annual $400 domain name fee. I understand that if I wish to retire my domain, I must submit a written request to register at .gov. If a written request is not submitted, I understand that I will continue to be responsible for all accrued domain fees. The following individuals will be listed as points of contact for the town of Ramseur.gov and Ramseur.gov. It is understood that the contact information must remain valid and up to date. All domain names are required to have 3 unique points of contact. Administrative point of contact, myself. Billing point of contact, Brent Cheek. And technical point of contact, myself.
Okay, this says that the billing point of contact would also be yourself.
No, that's,
Is that a misprint right there? Adam Smith, Town.
oh, that's town of Ramseur. Sorry.
And this letter has not been sent to anybody.
No, this is just up for discussion.
What is our town of Ramseur, internet policy? Town of Ramseur government internet policy, do we have a policy on it?
Well, this is for the federal agency, public websites policy.
I'm confused. It said the use of this domain is consistent with the town of Ramseur government internet policy. I request that this be put aside and maybe dealt with at a later time.
Okay, that's fine. I'll get some more information on this and then bring it along.
Anything else on the domain extension terms? Not web hosting provider discussion.
And can I ask you a quick question? What are we paying now per year to host the Ramseur.org? Do you have any idea?
I think it's like $1,300, $1,400.
It's like, it's 225. It's not much at all.
So to change it to a gov, it's gonna be about twice as much.
It doesn't even, that's only for the domain name registration. That has nothing to do with the hosting.
Yeah.
There's a thing in your packet that I've seen that had about a $500 and some odd dollar fee for hosting. I know.
The domain name is $200 or $225.
That's the hosting.
No, the domain name. Hosting is $600 a year.
So it's 800 and something total. So we pay, how much do we pay total for just the hosting?
$600 a year.
600 a year. And then we pay an additional 200 for the domain name. For just the domain name, $200.
I believe that's incorrect. You have to ask me for permanent.
We do it through someone else, not just me. Pay through domain listing. So we would have those same fees? No, if we cancel the .org, we wouldn't pay that annual fee.
And this would identify our website as a government, like a government type website.
And it'd be an additional, if we're paying $200 now, it'd be an additional $200.
I'm not saying it's a bad idea, I'm just saying that what's in that letter is not accurate, and we need to move further on it and make it accurate before we do anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah, this comes directly off the .gov website. It's just a request.
I think the name of what you talked about. Right. One of the names on it's not correct. Right. You can dress it up.
Second is the web hosting.
That means, excuse me just a minute, dress it up means make the corrections that need to be corrected. Okay, that's dressing it up. It may not be a political term, but that's the term I use tonight. Thank you very much. Go ahead.
Okay, the next item is web hosting provider discussion on here, and I think we just handled that. Did I get a copy of that, Bobby? Bobby? Did I get a copy of that?
I don't know if we can come up with it.
Anyway, I think that we should change our domain name hosting provider back to a commercial, domain name hosting provider. I think the cost for this was like $30 a month, maybe $360 a year, I think it is. Right now we're paying $600, so that would save the town, some money just in, right there.
We get the information. Cause I don't, from what I'm
I
seeing,
have
this is
that
all kind of confusing to me.
I had
You
everything.
talking about the GoDaddy domain?
Yeah,
This GoDaddy says, it's got the different levels,
oh yeah, 3 years for $575.
but it doesn't say specifically, forgive my ignorance, I have no idea what Managed WordPress Ultimate means.
WordPress is,
Hosted.
yeah, what you use. It's a hosting provider that you use to
So,
upload content to the website.
for just the Managed WordPress
And that's
Ultimate,
for both, that's the managed, we can host our own content on the website. So this is $575 for 3 years versus $1,800 for 3 years.
we actually have a contract in place right now, is that correct?
No,
We have no contract in place for our website?
no, we don't have a
Just,
contract.
right now, we just have an annual fee. It's already been paid for this year.
Did we sign a contract for the year?
No.
What was signed when the Turners came up here?
I don't
Last
think it
summer.
was more than a year, because we paid
It
them
was a
twice.
contract to do redesign and to host the site.
Right.
If you want to
They've
get
been
out of that
paid, they've
contract,
been paid for this year. They just took over right before the fiscal year last year.
Mhm.
And they've already been paid their $600 for this year.
So this is something that, just before the fiscal year coming up, we need to have more information on. So that's June, correct?
Yeah.
So we just maybe get some information together so you can dumb it down for me? So
Have
I
it all
can
listed,
understand it?
have it all
It's a
listed
web,
out,
it's a web hosting provider, I don't know how much,
have everything
Separate.
listed out on one sheet of paper, how much it's gonna cost and the total for what we're getting. Who's gonna host it and everything.
okay, I'll get that and bring it the next month.
Public record request procedure completed.
So, right now, we don't have procedures for, obtaining public records, and this is a procedure that's been adopted, from, the UNC School of Government. I'd like to request that we make a motion that we pass this, so it gives standard operating procedure for requesting public records.
It says on here, it says, please give full detailed description of the records request and description of how you plan to use the information requested. Post the bid.
Well, that,
We probably need to clean it up a little bit. North Carolina, you can't really ask the purpose of the record request, chapter 132. And, some of this, these stuff, of course, the federal user charges and stuff, I think we just need to make it, sometimes folks, confuse the Freedom of Information Act versus North Carolina Public Records. And the town subject to chapter 132 of we can incorporate a lot of this and just, if you don't mind, I'll take.
I'd like to change my motion and, make a motion to get Bob to, put this together for us.
We can take these to this and.
I'd like to make that motion.
I'll second that.
Okay.
A motion on the floor and a second, any further discussion?
I'd like to ask our town clerk, that archive social, that we were talking about, and we'd like to get